You're now watching the mystical green beanie.
Alright, so full disclosure, I'm not wearing a beanie today because it's May and it's 80 degrees outside. So if that's a deal breaker for you, I'm sorry. But get the stepping. I'm not playing that game. But seriously, I'm not putting a beanie on today. I'm not. But all jokes aside, hey, what's going on, dudes and dudettes? I am the mystical green beanie. And today I wanted to talk about the Force because, you know, May the 4th. Sounds like May the Force, because the Force and man, fuck it. So in my initial reaction video to The Last Jedi, I talked about this briefly, but this is something that I wanted to really get into because I think the idea of the Force is fascinating. Even the dumb stuff like midichlorians I think is pretty cool once you dive into the larger mythology and the history of Star Wars and what the Force means to it. So the Force is, well, besides being a plot device to progress with the plot of whatever story you're telling, is a metaphysical entity that binds everything in the universe together. Every polar opposite existential absolute, and I'm not sure if those words actually mean anything, but I'm going to keep going, resides on a cosmic scale, that scale being the Force. And based off the history of Star Wars in both the Legends canon and the Disney canon, the Force always has a way of balancing itself out. If it tilts too far to the light, it'll shift itself closer to the dark side. And if it tilts too far to the dark, it'll shift itself closer to the light. And that's why a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, there is constant death and war and violence. The Force is always at odds with itself because it was never properly balanced. Okay, actually that's not true because in the Legends canon, in the beginning, the Force was balanced. Because in those days, there were no Sith. There were no Jedi. There were no Grey Jedi, no Dark Jedi, no Sith assassins, none of that. There was only the Jedi. Which I know sounds a lot like the Jedi, but it's like Africans and African Americans. Similar, but very, very different. Because whereas the Jedi believe in the light side of the Force, just like the Sith believe in the dark side of the Force, the Jedi believe in balance. Unbiased, unwavering balance. So, I'm not sure if this idea comes from one of the 5 bajillion Legends canon novels, or if it comes from John Ostrander, but in the comic series Dawn of the Jedi, which was written by John Ostrander and drawn by Jan Duursema, we get to see the origins of the Star Wars mythology. In the beginning, 8 giant megaliths called the Thoyor randomly showed up on different planets and called people to them. And after those who heard the call enter them, the Thoyor would take them to this planet called Tython, a planet that reacted strongly to the Force and required balance in order to stay habitable. And in order to keep that balance, the people who were taken to this planet created an order called the Jedi, an organization that would be dedicated to maintaining balance in the Force. The planet also had 2 satellite moons, Ashla and Bogan, with Ashla representing the light side of the Force and Bogan representing the dark side of the Force. And if one of the Jedi veered too far to the light side of the Force, they'd be exiled to Ashla, where there they would meditate on the dark side of the Force. And the same goes for any Jedi who veered too far to the dark side. They would be exiled to Bogan to meditate on the light. And I don't know. I think with that idea in mind, it adds a whole new layer to the Star Wars mythology, and it makes the Force that much more interesting to me. Anyways, that is all I wanted to talk about today. But what about you? What are your thoughts on the Force? That's a weird question to ask, isn't it? But yeah, let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are on the Force or Star Wars as a whole, or the Dawn of the Jedi, just anything. Let me know down below in the comment section. We can have a conversation down there. And remember, if you like the video, hit the like button, share, support the channel, and if you want to see more content like this, all you have to do is subscribe. I'm the mystical green beanie. I'm not wearing a beanie, but shut up. Thank you for watching, and as always, until next time, adios nachos. Adios.